It's August 23rd. What is Appening?
Hey,
Tell me
Paul.
about Apple. What are they up to now?
Yeah, so Apple is expanding its own advertising business. So they are planning to show ads on iPhone. This is interesting. About 1% of Apple's revenue comes from advertising, and Google, just a little comparison, is 90%. So even though Apple's always favored privacy first, and we talk about the app tracking transparency, ATT, in the newsletter, but they're wanting some more advertising money, which is fair.
I gotcha. I'm not sure how fair it is. I know that they're making a lot of money in subscriptions. They've really jumped into subscriptions and across the board from Apple Music to news. Now that they're introducing ads as well, I don't know. It's something I'm not really too happy about. I don't know if you've noticed the ads on Apple News Plus already. If you're a subscriber, they do pop up ads. They're not as in your face, but potentially could get worse.
Right.
So yeah, ads or subscriptions, benefits of both, benefits of each, but both at the same time. I'll see. And it's interesting to note as well, Google have always been focused on ads. Their search business has always been funded by ads, and the revenue's been huge since almost the beginning. But Apple did try to get into iAd a couple of years ago on mobile, and they had some initial success and they dropped it completely, which is kind of interesting. Now that they're looping back around again, they're not making that open to developers, it sounds like, but they are making their own money out of it. So it's interesting. I hope they don't go over the top with it. We shall see.
Totally.
So what about the app trends? Who's winning and losing this week, Kate?
Yes. So the Facebook mobile app has fallen out of the top 10 most downloaded free apps 97 times this year, which is interesting because that only happened 7 times all of last year. Also, Snapchat's paid subscription is already a hit. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but Snapchat Plus already has more than 1 million users in 6 weeks.
Wow. It's incredible how much power some of these giants have. Like for Snap, we talked about Snap introducing that just about a month ago, I think, and now they got 1 million subscribers. It just shows how much power some of these giants are, and potentially how difficult it is to break into the market while these giants are sort of like shadowing over everyone. But it is interesting. Be Real, we talked about that app. They somehow have popped up out of nowhere, and it proves that startups can get a little piece of the pie, and it seems like they're growing. So it's good that we're not just talking about Snap and Facebook, and it's great that other competitors are coming along.
Totally.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, they're in the top 5 of the most downloaded apps. So
interesting. It's funny. The app itself is a little clunky,
Really?
but the concept is great, and it's the user experience. I think whatever technology they're using, it struggles a little bit whenever there's a lot of usage, and so Be Real sends you that message once a day to take a picture,
Right.
and at that time, sometimes you get the spinning wheel of death. It'll take a few seconds, even a few minutes for the actions to take place. So it just shows you, that they're catching up on their tech, but they still made inroads in the business and inroads with users. So that's continued to grow, and as I say,
Interesting.
Great that there's competition in the social space.
Totally, for sure.
And then there's other tech trials. I feel like as well, there's so many of these companies, the big companies especially, that are trying new things and testing things out on their users. Tell me about Facebook. What are they trying to do?
Yes, so this is my personal favorite. So DoorDash, the food delivery app, is actually teaming up with Facebook, and they are testing a service that will allow DoorDash drivers to pick up and drop off Facebook Marketplace items to customers, which is definitely solving a pain point for me. So I'm super excited about this. I think this is really, really interesting.
Yeah, it really is. The Facebook Marketplace really has exploded, and again shows you that Facebook have shifted and taken over more of the market, and potentially for some of the other upstarts in the space. But yeah, Marketplace is huge, and like you say, solving that last mile and being able to DoorDash getting involved to do that, I think it's fascinating, and the kind of I think partnership that makes a lot of sense.
Totally. And also, Paul, another interesting trial and partnership, Facebook and Instagram, they're teaming together to allow creators to share TikTok videos directly into the platform. So if you can't beat them, use them.
Wow, that's interesting. So I know we talked about on the newsletter a few months ago about how prevalent voice messages were on iMessage, WhatsApp, whatever. And now Spotify are trialing out some audio comments on music. So it's funny, yeah, some of these things will come and go. I know we talked about the Pixie that was introduced by Snap a while ago. That has died a death. So not all of these trials and new products and new concepts take hold, but it's interesting to see what these tech giants are thinking about and what they're doing. And we'll keep an eye on all this, and we'll report on it as day goes by.
Okay, Paul, so stat of the week, we're talking TV, but let's hear it.
Streaming wars again. Yeah, streaming 34.8% is the stat of the week. Streaming has finally overtaken cable in terms of viewership. And cable, I think, is still stronger, obviously, than broadcast TV. But now streaming is where most people watch their television. Cutting the cord was supposed to make it cheaper for users and consumers. I'm not sure if that's the case. In fact, I think it's the opposite. But it's interesting to see that we're now watching TV more through the internet than we are through cable. It's happened.
Crazy. Cool. Okay, Paul. So dAppening, we're talking a big name in Web 2. What's going on here?
Yeah. So Google. This is just what's news in sort of the Web3 sphere. Google apparently have invested $1.5 billion in Web3 projects. So quietly getting into this space, Web3 is supposedly, from an idealistic standpoint, a threat to some of these largest tech giants like Google, Facebook, Twitter, everything. But Google are watching closely, and they're putting their money where it should be. They've invested $1.5 billion in Web3 projects, and one of the most notable investments is in Dapper Labs, which run the Flow blockchain. We've talked about this in the past, but some of the biggest projects that we're working on right now in the Web3 space are on the Flow blockchain. That's an eco-friendly blockchain that's really focused on user experience. And Dapper Labs is the firm behind that. And Google investing in that as well. It seems like Dapper Labs have like a long runway, and they've got some big backers behind them. So interesting to see how much Google's investing in the space, and also specifically interesting for us that Dapper Labs is one of the recipients of their larger investments.
Awesome. Super cool. Paul, this newsletter this week was amazing, jam-packed with really cool, exciting stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah, we covered a lot of things this week, and no huge stories overtaking everything, but just lots of smaller stories that are important in their own right. And we'll continue to follow them. I really enjoy it.
Awesome, very cool. Well, thank you so much.
See you next week, Kate.
See ya.